Hi there, welcome back to my channel. This quick workout routine will be broken up into 5 different sections, and it will consist of 2 30-second intervals followed by a break, either 10 or 60 seconds. The first 3 sections are the same. First up, bicycle crunches followed by crunches. Not only is it important to do these exercises, it's important to do them correctly. I also purchased a thick foam mat to do these exercises, which makes it much more comfortable for me to do, and I overlaid a contrasting topper, that way it's easier to see me. Let's start by talking about a neutral spine. For these exercises, you want to be aware of the way that your pelvis is tilting. A neutral spine is about halfway between being fully arched and being fully rounded. It's especially easy for this arch to occur if you lift up your knees and you're trying to do exercises this way. On the other hand, we don't want to have our spine rounded inward into the mat, closing off the space that our spine would create naturally when it's on the floor. Instead, we want to be somewhere in between those two, and that's what we'll call the neutral spine. If I'm getting ready to do a crunch, I'll bring my feet in. I prefer to keep my knees equidistant from each other, about hips width apart, but you can keep them together if you prefer. And then I'm just being aware of how my hip alignment is. Remember the neutral spine. I will then put my arms behind my head and get prepared to do the crunch. I'm thinking about breathing out and engaging the muscles as I come up, and inhaling and relaxing when I go down. I'm looking over my knees, and I'm trying to make sure that my elbows stay equidistant and away from my face. If interlacing your fingers makes you want to put pressure on your head forward, just put your hands behind your ears. The pressure isn't good for your head, and you're just curling your chin downward instead of engaging the proper muscles for the crunch. Another thing that we don't want to do is immediately drop down. Try to also control the descent. And with all of those components together, we should have a safe and effective crunch. When it comes to the body, think of quality over quantity. Now let's talk about the bicycle crunches. To make it easiest, you can keep your arms down and just cycle as if you're riding on a bicycle. Again, we aren't hyper-exaggerating the hips, either very curved or very rounded. In order to make this harder, we lift up the legs. I am more so thinking about engaging the obliques rather than getting the elbow to the knee. Kicking the legs higher makes it easier, and bringing them lower makes it more difficult. Again, avoid putting pressure on your head with the fingertips. We want to avoid rounding like in the regular crunches, again remembering to keep the elbows nice and wide. And now onto side crunches. There are a few ways to do side crunches, but this is how I prefer. I start by stacking my hips over each other and my knees over each other. When I'm engaging upwards, I'm thinking about engaging the oblique of the side that I'm working on. In this case, I'm engaging my left side. Just like with the regular crunches, I'm keeping my head up, elbows out, and not putting any pressure on the back of my head. And now onto leg lifts. I breathe out to engage my core muscles, and I breathe in to control the descent when my legs are lowering. Be sure to go at a pace that is good for you. Last up, we have the leg hold. I'm just hovering my feet about 6 inches above the ground. I am thinking about engaging the core in order to keep my legs stable. It's okay if you feel yourself shaking, especially as the time goes on. Think of it as if your muscles are cheering you on. Keep going! And now I want to end with some stretches. I often do these in between the breaks and at the end of all of the exercises. So first, I'll start with a spinal twist. I will drop my knees to one side and try to get my shoulder of the opposite side onto the mat. I'm prioritizing keeping my hips stacked over each other and my knees stacked over each other. And then on the other side, just the same. Then wind relieving pose in yoga. I'm just bringing my knee to my chest. That helps open up my hips a little bit after all of the exercises. And finally, I'm finishing up with camel pose. So I just put my hands on my lower back, gently stretch upward, trying to open my chest, and finish up with child's pose. And that's it. Thanks for following along with me. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave it in the comments below. Bye!